You hold on to experiences in memory for years, but forget the information you studied so hard the very next day. Do you know why? Because the brain was never designed to treat all information equally. It preserves what it feels meaningful, and that may be the reason why we forget so much of what we study. You spend hours trying to memorize a definition and still forget it days later. But moments you truly experience can stay for years. You remember the expression on someone else's face, the exact moment everything changed, even details you never consciously tried to remember. Because experiences like that become psychologically real to the brain. They are not just information, they carry emotion, meaning, and sensory details. And the brain naturally remembers connected experiences more deeply than isolated facts. Most people think learning is mainly about repetition. They read information enough times and this should stay in long term memory. But what happens for many learners that never fully happens? Many say that I understood it while studying, but during the exam my mind went blank because repetition creates the feeling of learning without creating durable memory. This is because your brain is constantly deciding what is worth keeping. And isolated information often feels weak to the brain, not because you are unintelligent, but because the information was never deeply connected. Actually, your brain naturally learns through associations. Neuroscientists sometimes summarize this with simple phrase: neurons that fire together wire together. When more ideas, emotions, and experiences activate together, the stronger the neural connection becomes, and that is why a smell can suddenly trigger childhood memories. A song can bring back another phase of life, and even the visual location of information on a page can help you remember it later. Sometimes you cannot immediately remember the answer, but you remember exactly where it was on the page. Maybe the left side of the page, near a diagram, beside a highlighted sentence. That experience is actually real. Your brain naturally remembers visual structures. You just imagine studying a difficult topic. You draw an orange circle around a keyword, a rough underline beneath an important sentence, or a handwritten note in the corner of the page. Later during recall, your brain may first remember the orange circle, the page layout, and the visual pattern. Then suddenly information returns to your mind. Because the visual structure become part of the memory itself. The brain is given the landmark and that landmarks make retrieval easier. But the deepest learning happens when information becomes more than visual, when it becomes a felt experience. Imagine hearing this idea: inflation reduces purchasing power. For many of us, this statement remains abstract. Now imagine walking into your favorite coffee shop, same smell, same drink, but suddenly coffee costs much more. Your salary stayed the same, but your wallet suddenly feels lighter. And suddenly the brain understands the concept differently. Now you feel what the concept actually means. And once information becomes emotionally and personally real, the brain will hold on to that information very strongly. Because now the memory contains emotion, sensory details, personal experience, and the relevance. Imagine a student trying to memorize this physics formula: speed equals distance divided by time. They repeat the formula again and again, but it remains abstract. Now imagine your friends are running late for an exam. They look at the clock, calculate the distance remaining, and suddenly realize, if I keep walking at this speed, I am going to be late. At that moment, the formula is no longer just mathematics, it becomes prediction. It becomes real application. This is applying a concept in real life situation. The brain now experiences the meaning behind this equation instead of merely seeing the symbols on the page. This is also why analogies are so powerful. Suppose a student tries to memorize the human heart mechanically, he would memorize the parts of the heart: chambers, valves, or even blood flow pathways. But another student imagines the heart as an airport. The atria becomes arrival terminals, the ventricle become departure gates, the valve becomes one-way security gates, the electrical system becomes air traffic control. Now the brain is not memorizing isolated biology, it is connecting new information to the existing mental structure. And connected knowledge is easier to understand and retrieve. Many people think memory is mainly about repetition, but repetition without meaning is fragile. Your brain does not automatically preserve information because you looked at it many times. It naturally preserves information that becomes connected when it is visual, emotional, and meaningful. So the next time you study, stop asking, how many times can I repeat this? Instead, ask, what does this mean in real life? What experience does this connect to? What visual structure can I attach to it? How can I make this psychologically real? Because the learners who remember the most are not always the people who stayed the longest. They are often the people who connect knowledge the deepest. Your brain was never designed to memorize isolated facts. It was designed to build meaningful network.